In a land of myth and a time of magic, the destiny of a great kingdom rests on the shoulders of a young man. His name, Merlin. Let's get down to business. So my first taste video of Merlin did not get 1,000 likes as of today as I'm recording this, but it did, however, get 1,000 views. So I'm just going to continue because I love talking about Merlin. We're going to talk about Season 1, Episode 2, Valiant. And hey, what's up, everyone? How's everyone doing? I hope you're enjoying my Merlin videos. It's been a long time coming. Ever since 2018, I've been talking about making these videos. I'm doing pretty well today. We're here to talk about Merlin, Episode 2, Valiant. And like I said in my first episode video, Episode 1, Season 1, this one is kind of like a little funny. It's a little amusing to me. We start off with some guy like running around looking for like what I don't like about Merlin. And I said this a few times in my first one. There's this thing where they try to make it seem like magic is the thing that is the problem. It's just like guns. Guns are not what the problem is, but you can regulate the guns. And if anyone knows anything about Dragon Age Inquisition, I only know Dragon Age Inquisition. I don't know anything else about any other Dragon Age. You know that there's a certain way that they deal with keeping magic under lock and key because they look at it as like a gun or like a weapon. And it just entails hurting people rather than regulating the magic that they wield. And I'm not one to know how to do that. I'm not one to know what's the first step to take because I'm not in that leadership role. I don't need to. But I think it's a little annoying how Merlin does it to where magic corrupts people in a way rather than seeing these people as corrupt without magic. These people would be jerks without magic. They wouldn't be Princess Peach. They would not be Peaches and Cream without magic. That's why I don't understand. So there's an annual tournament where everybody comes around. This is another example. This is episode 2, season 1, episode 2, where we see black people as a part of the court that aren't just like handmaidens and blacksmiths and working people. We actually see them actually in silks and stuff. This is like second time, and let's see how many times we see it. And there's certain people, like, I don't know all of the characters, but this guy who sells the guy, this is the story. This is the story for this episode. Old dude pulls up to Camelot and he's like, I'm looking for magic that will help me in the tournament, basically. And the guy, he looks like very familiar. He looks like he's from Harry Potter. A lot of people from Harry Potter are in Merlin, and a lot of people from Game of Thrones are in Merlin as well. I do believe this is a guy, don't quote me on it because I haven't checked, but I think this is the guy who was in the Order of the Phoenix or something, or the Half-Blood Prince, where Creature grabbed him with Dobby. I think that's who this is. He's just some random dude that was like warping in and warping out. He made it he seemed like a muggle, but like he's like someone who makes money or whatever. Regardless, he's typecasted, making money again and selling contraband. This is funny. And there's also another thing. Merlin kind of has this thing where it's like there's the villain of the week where there's someone that pulls up into Camelot and then Uther trusts them 1,000,000%, and for some reason Merlin's got to stop them from killing him, even though it would be great if someone killed Uther. You're not as bad as someone who has committed genocide. You are not as bad as them if you kill them. You are not. You are simply not. Whoever makes that argument, they need to be looked closely at because that's what they want in life. They want horrible things to happen. But this guy gets this shield and he talks to the dude who's like the shyster, and he does magic to get this shield to come to life, and there's snakes. There's 3 snakes. And it's funny because it's like Harry Potter, snakes, hilarious. But he's like, oh, they're under your control if you say this word or whatever. He's like, oh, yeah. So he kills him so that there's no evidence that happened. And it's pretty crazy how this guy literally sells stuff and then expects people not to kill him after that, because literally magic is contraband. Magic will get you killed. You utter the word and you are literally killed. So he was get killed anyway. He was either going to get killed by Uther or he's going to get killed by this guy. But this guy is not one of those people that I say is a good person, but they make it seem like he's a bad person. This guy is straight up a villain. He wants to win the tournament, and he just wants to go into the tournament and get glory and riches. He does not want to stop the tyranny of Uther Pendragon. There are a lot of people who come to Camelot to stop Uther or have revenge on Uther, and it is their right to have revenge in this fictional show. It is their right to have revenge. It's not fair that he gets to kill millions of people, men, women, and children alike, burn them at the stake, everything horrible. And then we be turned to as the audience and say, see, look at that monster, that maniac who just wants glory. He's better than Uther Pendragon. He is. Don't tell me that this man is worse than Uther Pendragon, who killed men, women, and children alike. Do not tell me that. I'm not on this guy's side, but I'm saying that killing Uther is the best case scenario for anything, no matter what. And like I said, there's a lot of terrible writing decisions that were created and made later down the line. But we continue with the story with Merlin and Arthur practicing. He is now his manservant. Like I said in the last video, for saving the king's son's life, you don't get land. You don't get no wife. You don't get no money. You get $0.00. He's not getting paid for this man's servitude. He is a slave. He's not getting paid. He doesn't get any tips. He doesn't get anything. He doesn't even get new clothes. He wears the same clothes every episode. And to be fair, mostly only the women change clothes. Even the knights look like they don't change their clothes. But legitimately, he gets nothing. He gets no property. He gets no titles for saving the king's son. He is a manservant. So now he gets to be a manservant and he doesn't have a job still. So now he's got to fight. He's got to fight with him he's basically taking over that boy's job that he saw in the beginning, where he fought Arthur to begin with, because he was treating his servant like crap. He fought him because he was treating him like crap. Now he replaced him. Where is he? Probably dead. We're not told where his old manservant guy was. He's just legitimately gone. And he has this new manservant. Like, the king can't have multiple manservants. But they make it seem like being a manservant is like having a knightship. Except you get, like I said, no lands, no sword, no shield, no nothing. He just gets the crap that they give him. And then he has to give it back. It's not something he owns. It's not owned by him. So they're sparring. Of course, Arthur knocks him down because he's literally 20 years old warrior. He's been trained all his life to fight. And also, he has to learn about etiquette and whatnot of the tournament. He just got to Camelot how many days ago? How many times have we seen that man hit the pillow or hit the hay? Legitimately hit the hay in the dungeons. He was asleep 6 times in the first episode. It's been like a week. It's been about a week. And he still has to learn crap that he's never known because he's a literal peasant from a peasant village. And he gets no help with this. He's just supposed to learn because he's got magic. But if he didn't have magic, he wouldn't have been able to learn all this crap. And also, Merlin is, like I said, he's very, he's lackadaisical about being killed. Like, he just uses magic here and there. And Gaius is like, why are you using magic? Just pick up the book. And he's like, if I could feel my hands and my arms, I would do it. And he's like, what happens if you get caught? And he's like, what would you do? And that's really rich asking him, because he would just sit back and watch you die. Because he did that for all of his rest of his friends and family, except the girl he liked, he let escape. And now he talks about, why on earth am I a manservant when I saved the prince's life? Like, now he's asking that. And it's ridiculous. He should have asked that a long time ago. He's the future king and everybody expects so much of him. He's under pressure. What are you talking about? He's under pressure, bro. Like, that doesn't give him an excuse to be a jerk to everybody around him. Like, he's, as of right now, he's a jerk. He's not a good prince. He's a bad prince. He's a gross prince. He makes me sick. Gaius, the bootlicker, he is like, oh, you don't know. It might be fun to be his manservant, even though he has no, like, this is just like a standard. this isn't something that I condone. I don't condone women being treated as objects. I don't condone women being treated as currency. This is medieval times. They're doing that. So he doesn't even get access to women. He doesn't get access to anything that he would even want. He is literally mucking horses and being a fighting dummy. That's all he gets. And he gets to clean his room and do his laundry. The closest women he has close to is Morgana, who is out of his class, and Gwen, who is out of his range. You are out of her range, bro. And here we go. Guinevere having to tell Merlin how to do Arthur's armor for the tourney. She's like, this goes over that, that goes over this. She's literally telling him what to do. And he asks, how is it that you're so much better at this than me? You weak woman, you weak, feeble woman. How is it that you're better even though I'm a peasant from a peasant land and I've never seen a knight up close? How is it that a woman that lives in Camelot knows more about armor than me? And then she tells him, well, I'm the daughter of the blacksmith. And this, I told you, her father's a blacksmith and her brother is literal riffraff so far. Riffraff. Drifter going from town to town, causing ruckus. So the tournament starts today, and Arthur with his jerk self is like this peasant guy who has literally never seen armor up close, can't do my armor fitting in a timely fashion when he doesn't even know how to put his own armor on, as we'll come to find out later. He's like, you do know it starts today. He's like a jerk, a loser, jerk, scrub jerk. And I'm all here for, like people getting better, right? I'm all for people getting better. Like, you could start from the dirt and be great. Like, look at what Zuko, everyone looks at, oh, look at Zuko. Zuko, he's the best. So I'm going to say Zuko because y'all will keep talking about Zuko to the end of time. And I really hope they jack up this live action. They've already jacked up what people look like. Light skin galore. Ain't no dark skin to be seen at all under any circumstance. Oh, the villains are a little darker skin. Notice how Zuko is the darkest skinned character that they've casted for the show. However, Zuko was not dark skinned. He was actually light skinned. And so was Azula. But Zuko was a jerk, a loser, scum, trying to beat people up, capturing the Avatar, and then turns out he's nice. Let's see if they can Zuko Arthur. And I'm a give you a hint. I'm going to give you a hint. Maybe, possibly not. Maybe, possibly not. Who knows? Like I said, so we're just going to be going through it, and we're going to see if what I remember is correct. Arthur looking super clenched. His butt cheeks are super clenched. Merlin asks him, are you nervous? And he's like, I don't get nervous. Like, okay, bro, let me just not talk to you. Like, let me just not even have small talk with you anymore. Like, I really just hate Arthur so much. So the tourney starts, and you got Gwen next to Morgana. They're friends, I guess, even though it's like a work relationship. Morgana still treats her with dignity, even though she doesn't have an estate. She lives with her father still. She hasn't been given any land. She hasn't been given, maybe she's been given clothes. Maybe, because her clothes are a little bit more, like, I would say, better than, I would think that if you are a servant for the king or anybody in his circle, you would have better clothes than the peasants on the street. So I guess that's okay. And all the knights come in from different lands, and Arthur is representing Camelot. There's a black knight. There's like 2 black knights, and there's some black people in the audience. I don't see no Asian people. I don't see no Hispanic people. We see the guy, I'm going to call him Snake Lad. So Uther pulls his genocidal butt off the seat of tyranny and patriarchy and walks his duff down to greet all of these people who are upholding the mantle in which he maintains as well, to address them, talking about Knights of the Realm and whatnot. And also, fun fact, didn't know why people called it a realm. I'm writing a book. I'm writing actually a full straight up series with volumes. And it's like the beginning and the end of a story, like a legitimate story, like an epic, if you will. It's on par with the Odyssey, except it's better. And I was looking up unisex words for kingdom or non-sexed, because there are actually non-binary people in my book. And I wanted to know what that was. If someone who was non-binary was a king or queen, what would they be called? They would be called a ruler, but also their land would be called a realm. And that's why, because I'll let you know later who is a queen, but there is actually a queen in this story, Merlin. I mean, there are tons of queens in my book, but you'll just have to wait to find out when I release it and everything. So back to Merlin. The tournament lasts 3 days, and it's going to be like a tier list of people. Like, they're going to go against each other, and then that person's going to go against the person that won from their melee. And also, whoever wins at the end, whoever's the last one standing, will go against Arthur. Okay. So the prize for this is to be named champion and to win 1,000 gold pieces. I guess that's the currency. Gwen looks at Snake Lad like she likes him. And like I said, this is a very PG, I would say, as to say G. It's not even PG. It's just G. Like, you could have your young sister or sibling watch this show and you will never see any adult anything. Like I said, the kissing looks crazy. It's very family oriented. I would love to see like an adult version of this show with Gwen, like everybody the same except just different situations, because I feel like she would have been with one of the knights. It's 3 days. Like, you could be with them and whatnot, and that would actually give her. And yes, no, I don't think that sex is something that you need to promote. Like, let's just have a woman naked walking around the street, because that's how they got you with Game of Thrones. Notice how there was like no nudity that mattered past season 5, because they already had you. You were going to come anyway. But I just feel like adding more sex to this show, blood, gore, carnage, would make it better. I really do. I really do think so. This whole time, Arthur has stank face, and Uther comes up to him and he's like, I trust you'll make me proud. And he just is like, got stank face. Like, I don't know what they told him to look like, but he serves it really well. Serves jerk really well on a silver platter. Arthur has to fight someone in the first inning. He's got to fight the first person. So he's literally fighting them. And it's this guy they don't even tell you where they're from. All of them, at least. This guy just has a green shield with like penises on it. I don't know. It looked like pickles, maybe dark pickles. And they don't even show what he looked like. It's just everybody's random. They don't even tell you what kingdom they hail from. It would have been nice to get that. And I think in a remake of the show, it would really be cool to have different places, like people that look like they're from India or China, Japan, Korea. Like, it could be multiple people, because this is make-believe. Like, it does not just have to be people who are white. And yes, you could say, oh, it's from the European medieval times, but everyone had medieval times. Everyone had times where it was medieval. Like, everyone had Middle Ages. Everyone had Dark Ages all around the world. So please miss me with that all the way. I'm not here for that. Arthur beats the dude in no time. Nobody dies. Everything's fine. There's like these advisor people next to Uther sitting at the top. Like, maybe they're knights or whatever, but like, we never get introduced to any of these guys. Like, their faces are just random. So actually, Arthur has to earn his keep. When it comes to moving up in the ranks, he has to earn his keep. So he goes against people until he gets to the top. So there's this guy that has like 2 swords. Like, he's just swinging the swords. Like, he's from Hammerfell. And it's really cool. And people are like, oh, that's random. Like, it would have been nice to see more people from wherever he's from. But they just love to just put random people who look ethnically inclined here and there and not make them actual characters. Each time the snake lad is killing people, or not killing people, but he starts killing people with the snakes because he is gross. He just is gross. Like, there's no reason to kill anyone. But he decides, yeah, let me kill these people when I can't beat them. So Merlin's been tasked with doing everything under the sun for Arthur. He's cleaning all the stuff and whatnot with magic, of course. And he's just sitting back. The least he could do is like do one thing while the magic is doing the rest of it. But Gaius comes in and he sees that he's been doing magic again. His name is Knight Valiant of the Western Islands, because that's what he tells Uther. Maybe that's an untruth. Maybe he killed the guy who was supposed to be in that, but we'll see. We'll see. But he starts talking to Uther, and the girls are smitten. They're just like, ee hee hee hee. Even though he's not like the best looking person, like he's got a very he reminds me of a shark. Well, the way he look at Morgana, though, like the way he look at Morgana, yes. If this was an adult show, they'd definitely be. And we have to see Arthur, half brother Strange, getting a little jealous of someone who's not her brother talking to her. So it's like, Again, they don't know that they're half siblings, but everyone who knows the Arthurian lore knows that they are related. Everyone. So now we know that whoever wins the tournament gets to basically takes Morgana for the night. In this child-friendly show, it's just to the dance. It's just to the feast or whatever. Arthur goes over to be annoying, and literally 2 seconds before he even walks out of earshot, she's like, can you be any more annoying, boy? Can you be any more annoying? But she's talking to Gwen about Arthur. And she's like, I really hope that Snake Lad wins the tournament because he look at me real good. And we go into the dance, aka the dance, because ain't nothing different. Ain't nothing gonna be sexual up in here. So Merlin goes to shine Arthur's armor, and then hears like a snake hiss. So he starts looking at everybody's armor, and then he sees the snakes on the thing. They're moving. Bad CGI, terrible CGI, but like I said, you're gonna have to just accept it for a little bit. It's gonna be like that for the majority of the time. He doesn't touch it, but he almost touches it. Snake Lad comes in, talking about what you doing. You're just but a servant if you don't get out of here. He pulls a knight card, get out of here. You're trying to steal, basically. Snake Lad lets him live. Perhaps because he knows that if the king's handmaiden or whatever he is to him disappears, he'll just get another one. But like, I don't know. He spares him, and he's like, best be on your way then. And he leaves. So he goes, and he has all the armor polished and everything's clean because he used magic. And then Arthur, the dim-witted idiot he is like, oh, you did all this by yourself? Like, he didn't even consider that other people could have helped him, or he could have used magic. He literally was just like, okay, whatever. He asks him, did you do this all by yourself? Making it seem like he didn't think that he was going to be able to get what he asked done. So why would he ask him to get something done he didn't think was possible? But whatever. But he's not even impressed. He's just like, now let's see if you can get me in it without forgetting anything like yesterday, because he forgot stuff and whatnot. But it wasn't even that bad. He literally was great. It just took a little longer. And he got out there. Everything was fine. So he needed to shut up. And he gave him both of his swords. He's got two swords. He's got one long sword, one short sword, I guess, for long range and short range or whatever. And everything is there. He's like, oh, I'm impressed now. He's impressed now. He says he's a fast learner. And he's like, oh, I hope for your sake that's true. Like, bro, please jump off a cliff. So even though he is the champion of the last tournament, he has to play through the ranks in order to beat the person who's at the end. So Gaius comes along while he's creeping behind. He can't even be in the audience. He's got to be in the dirt, hiding behind pillars, watching the tournament from behind. And Gaius is like, yeah, so how is it working for Arthur? Even though you're not working, you're a slave because you called him a master. You don't get paid, and you don't even get any house and board. Not that giving a slave a house and board is making slavery better. Still, the bar is an H to hockey stick, so that's not. But he asks, and he's like, oh, it's not so bad entirely, all the way bad. And he only did that just because he smiled at him. He literally is indoctrinated into this cog, bro. He's in the cog, bro. He is the cog. He has become the cog. He doesn't even care that he is a servant and he's not getting nothing. He's not getting any food. He's not getting anything better. He's literally just freaking trash. He's scum. He's scum, and he's getting treated like scum. And then when he's not treated like scum, it's positive reinforcement for that behavior. Oh, I'm gonna make sure that I feel like this all the time, so I make him feel like this, so that you make yourself feel horrible about yourself to make yourself feel like you're better. You understand what I mean. It sounds crazy, but it's the truth. Anyway, guys, it's attaboy, be a cog in that disgusting machine we call the tyrannical monarchy. Bro, And I just want to let you know, the fight sequences aren't that great either. Like, the only time it was really good was when this guy with the swords came out, because it's just like, you see it, you see something, like, it's not even great. Like, if I made a movie or whatever, I'd make it look really cool. I would talk to swordsmen, and I wouldn't just hire swordsmen to not use a sword like they did in Game of Thrones. I would actually, like, have people using swords, and they'd be swordsmen, like, and swordswomen. I really wish that they actually talked about where these people hailed from. Like, in the beginning, yeah, it would have been like a little, maybe they could have added a little extraness, like maybe having the girls talk while they're saying it, but you can still hear in the background, Rorix from Ardenstead of the Ninth Liege. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some, like, we just see different colored knights come up here, and not by skin tone. I do mean Anglo-Saxons. I do mean white people. They're just covered by a mask or by a helmet. They are different color armor and clothes. And a lot of these people are not wearing armor. A lot of these people are just like wearing clothes. And it's a little strange because you can see the chainmail underneath the armor, but like, I guess they trying to represent they house code, like, but they literally are just random people. Like, we don't know where these people are from. There's supposedly like 5 kingdoms or whatever, or supposedly different realms around, like, and we never learn of all of them. We learn of like 2 or 3 throughout the whole series. But right now they don't even, like, we can't even make an inference that one of these knights are from the people that we meet later down the line. Like, they were just making this up as they went. Like, they didn't have a goal. So the music plays like crazy. You can tell when the villain's on scene or on the screen, because it's like brr, 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 brr. And he's like fighting. He's fighting fair and square, and then he gets knocked over for a second, and I guess he thinks that he needs to kill this guy for some reason. There's a snake that no one sees that stabs him, and he literally kills the guy, or he at least maims him. And it's ridiculous, because you do not have to kill people in order for you to win the tourney. So Gaius wobbles himself right out there to be complacent in this situation of the tourney, because who is funding this tourney? Who's getting paid? No one, because you've got servants and slaves slaving away to create the tournament, to keep the tournament going, and to make the food. And you're not even paying them. And they don't even get any land. So yes, every aspect of this kingdom is to uphold the kingdom. So Gaius comes out to one of the only black people that are able to be seen on the show. And he's like, okay, let's see if this guy's okay, because he literally just got stabbed. And Gaius looks at his body, and he's like, literally like, oh, look, he's got snake bites on his neck, like a bat or like a vampire. I would sooner assume vampire before I would assume snake. And how do they not just automatically think it's the guy that he just fought? How did they not automatically think? He was fine. He was walking around. How you gonna have snake bite in your neck and then pass out after you just got stabbed? Okay. He said, if it's a snake that bit him, I'm going to need to kill the snake to get the stuff to beat the titty. Like, I just hate Gaius so bad. So bad. He's one of the worst characters on the show. I'm telling you right now, his crimes are horrible. And basically they talk, and Merlin's like, oh, I know who the snake is. I know where it is, because he saw him before the second day attorney. So he's got to go, and he's walking with that stupid snake shield. You'd think he would always have it with him, but he doesn't, because Merlin is able to get the antidote. Because over the course of this episode, here and there, you'll see Merlin literally reading a book. So he's learning like how to reanimate things. So he's going to learn how to animate the snakes. And this guy who's got the snake shield is literally feeding them like rats. And it's hilarious, because it's like, do you have to feed them rats? Are they just not magic? Are they not going to just go back into the snake thing? Did that man tell you, oh, you got to feed him? Because I don't recall him saying, oh, you got to feed him. And also, he saw that somebody saw him, and then he just was like, oh, well, I guess it was nothing. He was like NPC and was like, okay, it's nothing. So Merlin returns to Gaius and says, yeah, it's Valiant, or whatever his name freaking is. I think his name is Valiant, because that's what the episode's called. But it's like, oh, he's got snakes in his shield. He's snitching. He's snitching like a little snitch. And he's like, I gotta go. And he's like, and Gaius, he knows exactly what he's doing. Don't ever think that he's just a feeble old man. He sat back and watched children die. I'm going to say that in every episode because obviously some people who've been making videos on Merlin need to hear that Gaius is not someone you should like. He's like, oh, don't say that Valiant has magic, because Merlin's like, I'm going to go to the king and I'm going to just tell him he's got magic. Which is funny because this is why I call him a snitch, because it's like, it's one thing to just be like, okay, let's take care of this dude very privately, very secretly. Let's just say he's sick or whatever. Maybe make him get sick with the same poison and then him have to figure it out. Let him die like that. Something very easy. Instead of just going to the king that you know is going to kill him if he has magic. When he's a jerk. He's a jerk. He is trying to kill people in the tournament. He's literally trying to do that for riches and whatnot. But what I don't understand is, how are you going to have magic and then squeal to the person that's going to kill someone if you say they've got magic? That's why Merlin is a snitch. It's not because he's trying to protect Arthur. He's not like he's trying to uphold like this tyranny. But Gaius says, no, don't do it, because he's not going to believe you, because you're just but a servant. I know the ways of everything. I know the hierarchy. So if you pull up and say that this knight is using magic, you're going to need evidence. And he's like, oh, I don't need evidence. I'm Merlin. Like, he's like, whatever. All while they're having an argument over this guy who's slowly dying. And then they show, as they're done arguing, like this guy looks sweating to death because he's being poisoned by fake snakes. I don't understand how first of all, they eaten. Second of all, they actually have no venom. Like, it'd be one thing. It's just like, okay, snake, hiya, but like, okay, it's got venom. Interesting. Magic, I'm fine with that. I'm fine if the answer to that is magic. I don't care. So the next person, this is day 3. My recollection, maybe it's like the same day, but they make it seem like once everybody's done with the tournament, it's like, to me, I think this is day 3. Like, as a person in the audience, I believe that this is day 3. This could be day 2. It's not day 1 because they already talked, like, unless this is out of order, which I don't believe so. This is either day 2 or day 3, but I believe this is day 3. Arthur has to fight a guy that's as strong as a bear, but he's slow and whatnot. So he's basically like the mountain, and we don't even hear where he's from. So Merlin is not minding his own business, but he told Gaius that he was, because he's butthurt because Gaius told him the truth. And the only time he ever tells the truth is when he's trying to uphold this hierarchy. And to even consider being a peasant to talk to the king about anything like that, it disrupts the hierarchy. So that's why Gaius stopped him. It's not because, oh, I'm afraid for your life. Like, you could say that, and you could say that he loves Merlin or whatever. But I just feel like he's more in love with himself, or else he would have died with all his friends that he watched get killed. But he's literally like not minding his own business. He's looking at Valiant like, oh, I'm going to find out how you using magic. And he's just like, So Arthur is fighting the bear. I'm going to just call him the bear. Y'all know that show on Hulu called The Bear, whatever. It's like a pretty good show. It's like, okay, like I watched it when I was really sick. So I was like, oh my gosh. But like, it was a good show. It's a good show. I recommend it. I'll probably do a video. If you want me to do a video on the bear, let me know in the comments. Yeah. So freaking Valiant is fighting people and beating people up, being horrible, everything, pushing people over. And now he's getting crazy with it. Like, he could just win fair and square. He's really good. He's not biting everyone, I didn't think. But now, since he bit that black guy, Gaius is looking at all of the people. They didn't show him looking at the people before. So with this day, I think this has to be the 3rd day, but maybe the 2nd day. Okay. I don't know. You let me know when you watch the episode. Season 1, episode 2. He sees that Valiant is going against Arthur in the final, and he's like, oh, he's going to kill him, and he's going to use the shield to kill him. And then he runs off with his gangster lean. Don't know how this dude isn't dead yet. Maybe this is how real poison works, but they always make it seem like snake poison takes like immediate effect, if not. But it's been like a whole day. And again, like the time is crazy. They don't even tell you what time, but there are candles next to this guy that have been melting, and it looks like it's halfway down. So if that's any inference to what time it is, it's like midday or something. I don't know. Who knows? There's a candle in there, even though it's daytime, but it is like in the depths and decrepit parts of the castle, because for allowing all of your friends to be killed by a genocidal maniac, you get nothing but the scraps and nothing but the dank quarters of the servants. When you are the court physician, you think that he would be at the top, like where Morgana is. He's the court physician. You think that you would want the court physician to be near you or to have a wing or something. But he is like in the depths, bro. He's got 2 rooms to his name. And this is something I neglected to say outright in the first episode, First Taste. But one big reason why I hate Gaius is because this male is poisoning Morgana every day. Apparently she has night terrors, and they're so bad that he has to give her a little scoop of poison that is poisoning her and weakening her so she can't use magic. Why is he doing that? He didn't even know what she was destined to become according to the dragon later down the line. Like, what? Like, what? He doesn't even know that. He's just like, oh, if Uther found out that she was magical, she would be killed. Bro, she's not an idiot. She's not gonna do magic in his face. It's literally like Merlin. Why don't you do that to Merlin instead of tisk-tisking him every time you see him freaking sweeping like Fantasia? Men get to choose whether or not they use their power. Women are the ones that are controlled. It's shown here deliberately. So Arthur is about to fight Valiant in the final. And Merlin is pouting because Gaius told him the truth about the hierarchy of the kingdom. And the king will not listen to him or Merlin if they talk about a knight's grace or whatever, which is funny because there's going to be an episode that's going to be coming up soon that makes it seem like he doesn't give a darn about knights. But I mean, in a way, I don't know, it's just another one of those upholding cock things. But old dude is like, you're right, Valiant can't get away with this, we got to figure something out. So their plan is to get one of the snake heads, because Merlin knows how to reanimate things, or he's been trying to reanimate things. So it's cool that we see him reading about magic so that when he does something new, it's not as Mary Sue-ish, as you would say. But he read like 2 pages and he's doing it by himself. No one's telling him. Gaius isn't teaching him. So it's funny that he can teach himself. It's just like picking up a book for physics and teaching yourself physics. Like, okay, dude. Okay. Not Mary Sue, though, right? Not Mary Sue. Maybe you'll say Mary Stu because that's not feminizing you, but whatever. Their goal is to cure this knight so that the knight could tell the king, hey, yeah, he's using magic, which how could he even say? He doesn't know what he saw, and he could not even know. But they're just banking on this fact that this guy will say he's using magic. He might not even want to get in the middle of this. He might just want to go home because he almost died in Camelot. I believe this is day 2 because they're having dinner. He literally is sitting at the dinner table, so I think this is day 2 or night 2. And everyone's eating around this small table that looks really small. And all the knights are sitting there eating around the king. And he's like, oh, stay after the tournament, Gallivant or whatever his name is, Valiant. And he's like, oh, it'd be honored. He's like, I can use knights like you, which is a little strange because I thought these knights were representing a place, not representing a place that did not have a king already. You know what I mean? Like, are knights not knights of a king or queen? Are knights not, like, let's say for instance, there's the president of the United States, so he has his knights, and are there knights of like Texas? Are there knights of, or are all the knights of the United States dedicated to the president? is what I'm saying. So how would Valiant be able to just be snatched from wherever he hails from to become a knight of Camelot? How does that work? Like, I don't know. So Merlin unlocks the door of Valiant's place to get the shield and try to get the snake head so that he can get the antidote venom for the night that he just so happened to be the only one that got poisoned, or they found out he was poisoned, or he lived, because he's still alive unless those other ones died. But the snake literally comes out without him doing anything, and he snatches it up. He is attacked by two other heads. So you think that the head would be gone. You know what I mean? Like, you think that the shield would only have two snakes left. But the snake head is really believable. It would be nice if they made the dragon look like that. But I really like the snake head. And Gaius makes an antidote with the venom of the snakehead. So Valiant's honor is being put into question by Merlin, sent to Arthur because he's the only person he can talk to. And he's like, Valiant would never do that. Like, bro, what do you mean Valiant would never? Do you know this man? And he's like, oh, he's a knight. Like, okay, bro, whatever. But he literally brings the snake head, and it's like, this head looks just like the head of his snake thing. And it would be interesting if it actually showed that one of the snakes were missing, because what's the point of it coming out of the thing? Why can't you have a snake come out the chest of your armor if it doesn't matter if the snake is on the shield or not? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you cut off a head of the snake, there's 3 heads. There should just be 2 heads left, and then one that's bleeding, or one that looks like it's bleeding in the picture, in my opinion. That's how my magic would work. But it doesn't, so that when Arthur goes up to Uther and says, yeah, here's the snake head, this is what happened, and they have the shield out for everyone to see, and he's like, are you trying to disrupt his honor? How dare you? You're just but a serving boy. You're just but a servant. Now I believe that I was a mistake to ever have you as my servant. Get out of here, my father hates me now. And it's just like, just for tension. This was all just for tension. And the reason why the snakes don't come out of the shield is because they're already out. They are out and they're killing the guy. They're finishing what they started. They killed the black guy who survived the snake wounds, and he's dead now, which is funny because they can still show him the body. They can still show him his neck. But at this point, Uther doesn't want to hear about it, and Arthur doesn't want to hear about it. Uther just thinks that he went up to him and said, oh, Valiant is not, he's not honorable because he's afraid to fight him. So now Arthur's going gung-ho and is going to fight this dude, even though he thinks that he does have magic because he believes Merlin. Because Arthur is very prideful at this point. And if not for Arthur, and people just use this as an excuse, there are so many reasons as to why Arthur would keep Merlin by his side, not having nothing to do with him liking him at all, as a person at all. This is medieval times. Y'all need to stop acting like this is 2023. This is medieval times. This man does not like him. They do not have a friendship. They have a workship. They have a work relationship. It's not a relationship that is anything fancy, anything sexual, which I would love to see a sexual relationship between Arthur and Merlin in a different show, because they don't even have heterosexual relationships on the show barely. Like, every time someone wants a relationship with someone, they just die so that they don't have to show them kissing. They literally will kill them before they show any sexual anything at all. But I think that it is very unhealthy for people to be shipping Arthur and Merlin, especially since their relationship is not anything that is not horrible. Like, it's terrible. It's terrible. And also, you can see how he saved him, not because, oh, they're friends or whatever. And there's this conflicting things that Arthur does to what he feels and what he does. Different times, but we'll talk about it when it happens. But he literally saves Merlin. He's like, get out of my sight. You're not going to be my servant no more. You're not going to be my handmaiden no more. because he made himself look like a fool in front of his father, and he really wants to not see him as a failure. Like, he wants his father to see him as a success because he's his only son and his mom died for him to come in this world. So it's kind of like, you got to do something with your life. Okay, so Merlin goes to the dragon who called him in the first episode, and he's like, yeah, no, this isn't going to work out. This destiny thing's not going to work out. He hates me. He doesn't want me to be his manservant no more. So what am I doing? Like, what am I doing in my life? And he's like, oh, one side of the coin cannot hate the other side of the coin. Like, he's just dumb, and I can't stand the dragon. Like, in all reality, I can't stand him because the way he acts and the way that he reacts when things happen, I'll let you know when it happens, but he's just a jerk all out. But he does tell Merlin exactly what he needs to do. And like, Merlin never does what he says. Never. He only does it when it's the worst thing he could have ever imagined to do, or ever imagined to even listen to him do. Like, listen to him do. Like, it's terrible. Terrible. So, as of right now, Merlin is essentially fired. I don't know how you can be fired from being a slave, or a servant, if you want to act like it's a cute word for it. I don't know how you can be fired from being a slave or servant, but he is fired. So now Morgana is putting Arthur's armor on, and she's looking at him. There's like this music because he thinks he's going to die. Arthur really does believe Merlin, but he can't go against his pride and his father's pride. He has to prove to his father that he's worth something because he knows he's worthless. And day and night, all night, like, I don't know how many days went by, man. The way that time goes by on the show is crazy. Like, you can never tell because the sun is either always out or it's dark at night. People be laying their head on the pillow and then it's still the same day. Like, but legitimately, Merlin stays up day and night, like practicing that spell that I was telling you about, reanimation, because he was reading about it earlier. So he is trying to reanimate stuff so that he can do it for the crowd. He's going to use magic and show that the snakes come out of the thing. So he's like, he does whatever. He just like does magic or whatever. He finally does it to where he can do it to the actual shield. And Merlin does it so that the snakes come out. There's still a snake that's missing, but the head's not missing. So it makes no sense. Everybody's gobsmacked because there's snakes coming out of his thing. He's like, oh, sorcery. Look at you. You get the sorcery. Oh. And then he's like, this is just a oopsie doopsie. And then the snakes come out and they're about to kill. He said, kill him. And he's about to kill Arthur. So he's just sitting there instead of like doing anything about it. He's just like staring. So you see Morgana snatch a sword and throw it to him, and he actually kills two of the snakes like easy peasy lemon squeezy, and then he stabs Valiant, and he's just upset because he didn't trust Merlin to begin with. And now no trial or nothing. They don't even know if that stuff was given to him by Merlin. Like, for everything that happened, Merlin could have done that. I don't understand how people didn't put two and two together. They dum-dums. If they weren't dum-dums, he would have been dead by now. So let's go back to something I said in the very, very beginning. The reward for winning the tournament was 1,000 gold pieces. So who won? Who gets the money? Oh, wait. This system is built to not even give the money to anyone, even if they're not an evil person who is just trying to kill the king or kill the prince, or who do whatever he wants to do, get riches. Literally, Uther made this tournament so that no one gets the money. The final boss is his son, who he has trained since birth with a sword in his hand, even though he acts like sometimes he's great and sometimes he's a goofball with that sword, bro. But that's the system. The system is put in place for no one to win. The king wants his son to win. The king wants his son to win so that no one gets the money, and that's exactly what happens. But it's like everyone's happy. Everyone's happy to see that man get killed before their very eyes. Everyone's joyful as the blood bleeds out of this man, but we don't see it because there ain't no blood on the show. And then Uther's like, I bow to you, son. You are the son that I always wanted to see kill somebody in front of me. That's so great. Like, and now everybody's raising their cup to him. Everyone's happy. And he's sitting there. He's like, I almost died. And now Arthur gets to take his half-sister to the dance because he's the champion. Yeah. And Merlin is sitting there in the back with the peasants and the help, clapping lowly so that no one knows that they exist. He's like, see, I told you he gets all the girls in the glory. And Gaius has the audacity to open his crusty lips and say, he owes it all to you. Like, bro, if you don't... I'd be throwing hands with him, man. I'd be throwing hands with that old man. And then we learned that Uther didn't even apologize for not believing anybody because he didn't believe Merlin and he definitely didn't believe his own son. You'd think that even if the son said, the sky's falling, like the king would be like, yeah, the sky's falling. But just when it has to do with horribleness, Uther does not trust his son. He told him that Valiant had magic, and he didn't even say, oops, sorry that I didn't know and you almost died. So Morgana's like, yeah, I saved you. And then Arthur's like, no, you didn't. I would have been fine, even though he wouldn't have been because he didn't have a sword. What was he going to do? Stomp them? Stomp the yard with them snakes? Okay. And then Arthur walks up to Merlin like nothing happened. He's like, did you hear her? I can't believe she thinks a woman can do anything. And then he doesn't listen to him. Like Merlin literally just ignores him. He's like, okay, whatever. He's like, I just wanted to let you know I'm sorry. He literally apologizes. So there's just some redeeming qualities. But like I said, how many good deeds does it take to wipe away bad deeds? Okay? We can count how many good deeds and bad deeds each one person does, Arthur and Uther. But I just don't see how all the good deeds that they've done breaks any of them bad deeds that they've done. Like Arthur's still a jerk, and I'm not here for that whole thing where people are mean to people. It's just really annoying. I don't like the friendships where they're like, oh, you jerk, you punk, you loser. Like, I don't like that. I don't like that. I like niceness and kindness and wholesomeness. But and then he's like, oh, it was unfair to sack you for literally like helping me. They call it sacking, which sounds like something entirely different. Yeah, he goes right back to being a jerk, talking about, oh, here's all the stuff that you need to do because I fired you and you haven't had time to do it. So everything's like, he's like, oh, clean this up, clean that up, da-da-da-da. And he's like, I can't be seen buying my servant a drink. Like, I told you, upholding the, like, if Arthur wanted to be better, he could be better. If Arthur wanted to be better, and you could be like, oh, he's young, he's 20 years old. He's 20 years old. As far as I'm concerned, he's 20 years old. And that's being very generous to how he looks. He looks like he's in his 30s, but I'm going to just say he's in his 20s. And that just has to do with the fact that they can't hire someone who's 20 years old and be that good of an actor. All right, so that's the end of Season 1, Episode 2. Season 1, Episode 2, Valiant. It was just like, I wouldn't consider it filler. It's not filler. It actually maintains like status quo. Basically, it enhances Gwen and Merlin's relationship and gives a little more of Morgana's personality, shows Gaius's spinelessness, and shows Uther Pendragon being scum as always and Merlin being dumb as always. So the next episode to me is a turning point of the show as well, because it shows a new character that is in the Arthurian lore that comes in sooner than this, but I'm not sooner, like later, I would say, maybe, I don't know, but they don't even do what is supposed to be done, and I don't like that. And I think it was because they didn't want Merlin to look like a bad guy, because I'll talk about it in the next episode or the next video I do for Season 1, Episode 3, but there's a certain aspect to this girl's legend and Merlin's legend that would show Merlin in a not so nice light, in an actually pathetic scum light. And they wanted him to be the hero, ultimate hero, even though he kills a lot of people. But there are 13 episodes in each season, and there are like 5 seasons. So we've got a long way to go. Please like, subscribe, share, comment if you like this, if you'd like to see more. I intend to do the full season. I don't know about doing the rest of them the exact same way because this is going to take a very long time. I really hope you enjoyed. So that's it. hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you've been watching the actual show because it's really entertaining. And even though I've got a lot of issues with this show and a lot of issues with the writing and how they did certain things and how certain aspects of the show could have been better, pretty good show. And we will be ranking it per season when we're done at the end. Final season, final episode. We'll do that. So thank you. I'm done.